While we may think we know all there is to know about North Korea, we tend to forget how students live and study. The education system in North Korea is vastly different in some bizarre ways. From an astounding literacy rate to bizarre textbook content to even paying for public education, there are some insane things happening behind school walls. Before we begin, take a moment to click on that red subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and join our notification squad. Be sure to also leave us a comment and let us know what you think. Military prep. It's not uncommon to see some extraordinary talent from the younger students in North Korean schools. They all participate in some sort of extracurricular activity like music, dance, or art. However, they might be a bit too talented by the time they're in kindergarten, meaning that these little ones are so subjected to harsh rules and regulations they can't really be kids. Plus, when they get old enough, they will actually start training for their mandatory military careers. That means they start learning hand-to-hand combat years before they join the service. Smart classrooms. There are billions or even trillions of websites on the internet, but in North Korea, there are only 28 websites. For most North Korean students, they don't have access to the internet at home, let alone electricity to run a computer. For them, if they want internet access, they have to get it at school. North Korea is finally starting to integrate tech into their classrooms, but they only have access to maybe a few sites that will help them enhance their education. Textbooks. We typically think of textbooks as books filled with so much dry and boring knowledge that your head might just get a migraine. But all of the facts in the average textbook are true. In North Korea, their textbooks are a tad more, shall we say, fictional? How do we know this? Well, one textbook from North Korea claims that Kim Jong-un learned to drive when he was just 3 years old. Not only that, but that same textbook claimed he won a yacht race when he was 9 years old. Considering most of us can't color inside the lines into adulthood, we highly doubt North Korea's leader learned to drive as a toddler. Elite school or bust. In North Korea, there are different schools you can go to. Actually, we might need to omit the word can. If you're a member of one of North Korea's elite families, you will undoubtedly have access to better education. If you're among the working poor, you might not get an education at all. Students from poor families have been known to be punished for their parents' mistakes and sent to labor camps, none of which is good for a child's psychological state. Politics. Even when they're just young children, students in North Korea are given an aggressive education when it comes to politics. Students are pretty much taught to dislike America. There's even a museum dedicated to this ideology in Sinchon called the Sinchon Museum of American War Atrocities. In case you can't tell, that's not the most positive name. Anti-American ideas are taught in the classrooms and supported by textbooks filled with facts. While the Korean War is often forgotten in America, North Korea remembers and they make sure future generations know too. Languages learned. In secondary school, North Korean students have to learn different languages. Unsurprisingly, they learn how to speak English. What's the other language? Russian. But since North Korea isn't thrilled with America, the students aren't learning standard American English. They're actually learning British English. However, because the country uses their own textbooks with a fictionalized spin, the secondary languages that the kids are learning aren't the most accurate when it comes to the real deal. Parents pay. While North Korean schools are funded by the government, there are still extra expenses that parents are expected to pay. There is the upkeep of the building as well as upgrades like getting computers. It's not your typical PTA or booster club. If parents don't make financial contributions, then it is the student that could end up being punished. Or worse, the student's family could fall out of political favor. Literacy. One of North Korea's biggest bragging rights is that they have a literacy rate of 100% for people ages 15 and over. That means every person living in North Korea can read and write. Compared to other countries around the world where this kind of education is free and yet cannot boast similar feats, this is an incredible number. Perhaps too incredible. However, there's also the fact that North Korea has extraordinarily strict rules when it comes to education, so it is plausible that this is true. Portraits. In every classroom in North Korea, you will see portraits of Kim Il-sung and his son Kim Jong-il hanging on the wall. They are hung in every room, even hallways and meeting spaces. You'll even see paintings with the two lost leaders hugging children and having a grand old time. The portraits serve as a reminder to the children that the great leaders are always watching you. The students stand before the portraits each day and swear their allegiance, and they will also stand and bow at the portraits outside of their school as well. The Children's Union. North Koreans will join numerous unions and societies in their lifetime. By the age of 10, kids join the Korean Children's Union. First, only the best and brightest get to join. Then the average students join before they let the rest of the children in once they turn 10. They all wear red scarves around their necks, which was a custom that came from the USSR when it was still in existence. The KCU is known as North Korea's Children's Army, and they are being groomed to become rule and law-abiding citizens no matter the cost. What do you think of what's happening in North Korean schools? Tell us all about it in the comments. Before you head off to class, make sure you're subscribed to our channel and you have those notifications turned on. That's the bell, so we'll see you next time.